Chào quý vị, chúng ta rất là vui được gặp lại quý vị trong chương trình Cận Cảnh của FBNC. Thưa quý vị, trong thời gian gần đây, nhịp điệu giao thương của Việt Nam và Mỹ cũng như quan hệ giữa hai nước đang gia tăng không ngừng. Đặc biệt trong bối cảnh chuẩn bị triển khai hiệp định thương mại đối tác xuyên Thái Bình Dương, thì thị trường Mỹ càng trở nên là một cái thị trường đáng được sự chú ý. Hôm nay chúng tôi mời đến trường quay một chuyên gia về luật và kinh tế Mỹ, đó là luật sư Sexto Vecchi. Ông đồng thời còn là ủy viên thường vụ của Tổ chức Phòng Thương mại Mỹ tại Việt Nam, AmCham, nhiều năm nay. Ông Vecchi là một chuyên gia nhiều năm đã ở tại Việt Nam và là người đã tham gia ủng hộ cái việc bình thường hóa quan hệ kinh tế, quan hệ ngoại giao giữa Việt Nam và Mỹ trong nhiều năm trước đây. Xin giới thiệu với quý vị luật sư Sexto Vecchi. Thank you for your coming.
Hello, I'm very pleased to be here. I'm happy to be able to be with my good friend Phúc Tien and to talk about business, exports, trade between the United States and Vietnam.
Mr. Sexto, for a year we learned about your business. We met you in Vietnam for a year. Is it every day now you wake up with Vietnamese coffee?
I certainly do. And not only do I wake up in Vietnam with Vietnamese coffee, when I travel, particularly to the United States, you won't believe it, but I also carry Vietnamese coffee in a little drip container so that I always have it very, very near.
Oh, it's great. It means I think that not only you wake up with Vietnamese coffee, even you say that Vietnam or in the U.S. Year by year now, Vietnamese product export to U.S. Now growing up. We see the figure recently. We would say that the trade turnover for two-way trade between Vietnam and U.S. increased 10 times in comparison with years ago, with 1995, when we normalized the relation between two countries. But before 1995, at that time I remember you write article to promote that we should normalize relation between two countries soon because of mutual benefit both sides. But at that time, did you forecast that the progress of the trade relation and also the relation between two countries will happen like this?
Actually, it happened much faster and much more profoundly after the bilateral trade agreement with the United States up to today than I thought. Today, if we just looked at 2013, Vietnam will be exporting to the United States something in the order of 23 billion, and will be importing from the United States about 5 billion. So Vietnam and the United States is Vietnam's major trade partner, and the trade is quite favorable to Vietnam. In other words, Vietnam exports far more than it imports, and that's been quite beneficial for Vietnam.
And you are one leader of AmCham, a business organization gathering many U.S. investor, business people, and also not only U.S. But how about your AmCham discuss about the trade relation between two countries? Years ago, how they forecast the situation now?
Well, I think from the very beginning it became fairly clear that Vietnam has many attributes and has many things that would promote their exports. One is a very disciplined labor force, one that is recognized among all of the countries that import from Vietnam. And so it's been easier for Vietnam to create a very solid manufacturing business for exports. 40% of Vietnam's exports are textiles and garments and footwear. And this requires disciplined work among a disciplined labor force. So Vietnam really is able to build on the value that it provides to exports.
Among Vietnam export to the U.S., do you find any U.S. investment inside so far?
It's interesting. The United States has less and less manufacturing, either in the United States or abroad. What the United States has provided for Vietnam are companies that have very strong brands, that have marketing ability, and so Vietnam's skilled manufacturing and strong consumer brands in the United States match very well. The strong brands have provided the support for an expanding manufacturing business in Vietnam, footwear and garments. Those are the main areas. The manufacturers in Vietnam are both Vietnamese and foreign companies.
And it means that the involvement of the U.S. Investor or business in Vietnam for export to the U.S., you think is significant, or you're not satisfied about that?
I think the possibilities for investment in Vietnam are large. I don't necessarily think that they're large in the generation of large exports, other than as I've described. But I think American investment in Vietnam can be quite significant in terms of creating infrastructure such as energy. Vietnam, as we know, has huge energy needs over the coming years, and I think the United States companies would welcome very much the ability to invest in energy. In addition, the United States has become very much of a service economy. So Vietnam requires more and more services. American companies, I think, are able to provide more and more services. Of course, the capital for services is much less than the capital for manufacturing. So the numbers may not be large, but the services are critical for a country like Vietnam that is developing. Those services are very critical.
Yeah. At the moment, if we see the trade balance figure, quite surprised that the export from U.S. to Vietnam still smaller than Vietnam export to the U.S. Do you have explanation or any comment about that?
Well, I think, again, the manufacturing in the United States and the products in the United States are moving up the skill chain, up the value chain. And Vietnam, although it has a growing and a rapidly growing middle class, still may not be able to afford some of the products that are manufactured or produced in the United States. But I think that imbalance is changing. I don't think it's an issue of quality or brands or style. The Vietnamese market is very style conscious. I think they're very interested in having the latest brands, the latest styles, the most modern equipment, the most modern styles. So I think that part of what is produced in the United States has an appeal in Vietnam. But over time, I certainly believe that Vietnam will import more, maybe not consumer goods, but maybe industrial goods as well as consumer goods.
Thank you, Mr. Sesto. Thưa quý vị, chúng ta đã có cuộc trao đổi với luật sư Sesto Vecchi về quan hệ thương mại Việt-Mỹ trong 20 năm qua. Bây giờ thì chúng ta sẽ nghỉ giải lao đôi phút để sau đó chúng ta sẽ có một cuộc trao đổi tiếp về triển vọng thương mại Việt-Mỹ trong bối cảnh Hiệp định Thương mại Xuyên Thái Bình Dương TPP sẽ được ký kết. Chào quý vị, trở lại với chương trình Cận Cảnh. Đề tài ngày hôm nay của chúng ta là trao đổi thương mại Việt-Mỹ, làm sao có thể gia tăng xuất khẩu của Việt Nam vào Mỹ. Thưa quý vị, tháng trước đây, với cuộc viếng thăm của Chủ tịch nước Trương Tấn Sang tại Mỹ, thì chính phủ giữa hai bên đã có một cái thỏa ước. Chúng ta sẽ cố gắng làm sao cho đến cuối năm 2013 thì cái cuộc đàm phán của Việt Nam gia nhập cái hiệp ước thương mại xuyên đối tác Thái Bình Dương sẽ cố gắng là kết thúc. Và như vậy thì Việt Nam cùng với 11 nước khác trong cái khối TPP sẽ gia tăng cái thương mại nhiều chiều, không chỉ giữa Việt Nam với Mỹ mà còn Việt Nam với 11 nước khác. Tuy nhiên Mỹ vẫn sẽ là một cái thị trường rất là lớn mà chúng ta cần chú ý. Bây giờ chúng ta sẽ có cuộc trao đổi về triển vọng của TPP đối với xuất khẩu của Việt Nam. Mr. Sesto, yes, we talk about TPP. The recent visit of Vietnam President to the U.S., you know that both government committed that we try to finalize the TPP negotiation within 2013. It's a very good signal to confirm that both countries want to increase the trade relation. So far, I'm Cham leader that you know how the U.S. business community discussed about that.
Maybe you mentioned President Sang's visit to the United States. Before the visit, I think that members of the American business community, some were quite concerned that Vietnam may have been somewhat behind in the negotiations of the TPP, and urged both people within the government and within the U.S. government to be sure that Vietnam was able to move forward with everyone else in the negotiations. I think that the visit of the President to the United States was really a turning point, and there is every sense that the Vietnamese government is very dedicated to working toward making the adjustments, the compromises, requiring compromises from its other partners in order to be able to facilitate joining the TPP when the negotiations are completed.
Yeah. Do you think the U.S. business people also ready to take this opportunity? For example, we will see a new investment from U.S. to Vietnam to gain the 0% tax later if they export product from Vietnam to U.S.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say that the American business community is almost totally aligned with the Vietnamese business community on issues that relate to export trade, the TPP, that the views are very, very similar, and we often approach the government together because the issues that we have are shared by both sides, by both entities. Will the United States take advantage of the TPP? It's very hard to tell how that will happen, but if we look at what happened after the bilateral trade agreement, after WTO admission, there was a great boost, not only in worldwide investment and trade, but including the United States. I have every expectation that that's going to happen after the TPP is signed. What form it takes, again, I don't know. But the TPP is not only about trade, it's about investment as well, because you need investment in order to be able to support growing trade, and that is going to happen. What I hope is that Vietnamese will also invest in order to take advantage not just of the export opportunities, but also the creation of capital, the enhancement of the labor force, all of these things that are required to move the economy to the next level.
Yeah. You just talked about the capital. Yes, investment very important. How about finance investment? Do you see any signal that we can attract more U.S. financial or financial short to support Vietnam for export, for trade with TPP country?
I think that American financing will be available to exporters. It's a very competitive market. There are many foreign banks and financial institutions that are active in this market, Japanese banks among them. But the United States has a good record of financing trade and an investment with Vietnam, and I have every confidence that they will remain involved after TPP and increase their involvement.
Yeah. Just come back about export product to the U.S. So far, still we see that the highest number of Vietnamese product export to the U.S. that mainly that raw product. You think can we export electronic IT product to the U.S.?
There have actually been some studies focused on Vietnam and that look at how will Vietnam benefit in a specific way. And there are several products that are projected for Vietnam to increase after TPP. One is garments and footwear, as you would expect, because it's already a leader. Second is textiles. So that tells me that now that Vietnam is importing textiles, they may become in a position where they will be producing more than they need and will be exporting. And the third area, which I think is quite interesting, is machinery. That tells me that the labor force will become more skilled. If those projections are correct, Vietnam will not just be exporting garment and apparel, but something that has a much higher value. I think that's what Vietnam really has to continue to focus on.
And do you think what kind of